Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm Jeremy Lott. Joining me today is the Center Square's Western Washington reporter, Spencer Polly. Spencer, you had a banger of a story this week that actually the subject of this didn't really want to talk about at a meeting. The title of the piece is Seattle Police Lose Officers Despite New $5 Million Recruitment Retention Plan. Talk to me about this.
Sure. Well, some context here is Seattle Police Department lost over 500 officers since 2019. And so last year, the mayor set up a police recruitment and retention plan that has a price tag over $5 million. And the goal of that is to have a net range of 500 officers within the department within 5 years. But this latest presentation that the Seattle Police Department shows that there's only like a net loss of 6 officers through mid-March this year so far.
That's not ideal from the police officers and council's perspective. This was presented at a meeting, and apparently they didn't throw that. They had the information there, but it shouldn't punch that information. And then the Seattle City Council said, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, well, what happened was, they showed your presentation available online, and in it, they do show that there was a net loss of 6 officers. Now, first off, that was an improvement over last year's year-to-date, which was a loss of 28.
We've improved. We've only lost 6.
But they didn't include it when they presented it to the council. Instead, they just showed that they hired 19 officers, more than they hired last year, which was 10. But they just totally took out the slide showing the departures. And so Seattle City Council member Alex Peterson said he was confused, saying, I don't see it here in this other, the available version online. And, Seattle Police Department officials that were there at the presentation ultimately said, well, this is what the numbers we have. We just didn't include it. But I will say some of the statistics that did show was that, recruitment numbers might increase. There's 56 applicants currently in the backgrounding phase. Now, which one of those will pass through is, to be determined, but there's already 10 applicants awaiting their first day orientation. So hopefully the net loss turns into a net positive.
But here's a question. So, let's say they don't meet anything close to their goals. Are they going to try to sweeten the pot further? Is that a thing that they've talked about yet?
They haven't mentioned anything like that as of yet. What they're doing now is trying to push their campaigning ads more. So early next month, you'll see radio ads and more marketing strategies implemented. So far, from her firsthand experience, I've heard them over the PA announcement. This was at the Seattle airport.
If you see something, recruit someone.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but we'll just say that. Right
now, the incentives are the hired officers, you say, would get a one-time cash bonuses of $7,500 if you're just brand spanking new. But if you're, a cop with, Burien or just pick a municipality, right? And you get hired on, that's a $30,000 hire away bonus, basically.
This is their way to try to entice people to come, join the police department. But they're competing with other police departments within Western Washington. They're doing the same things, similar incentives. So it's a competitive market out here right now.
Yeah, it's a bidding war.
Absolutely. It's becoming a bidding war.
Was there anything about this story that surprised you?
Other than seeing that the net loss is there, it's just seeing that city council members seem like they're really wanting to know more about how the money is being used. So far, City Council approved $750,000 last year, in addition to $170,000 recruitment plan bill from last summer. But this is all to kind of see if it improves. And so far it's not. And so during that presentation, City Council members were saying, we need to know what's being utilized from these funds so far and what's being left over. And, the presentation didn't include anything about what is being used and financially wise, but hopefully they'll see it more in the next presentation.
Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Spencer Polly, I'm Jeremy Lott. Please subscribe and thanks for listening.
Freedom and liberty are important to all of us. If you're looking for civil, intellectual conversations with those shaping the future of freedom, try the Future of Freedom podcast with me, Scott Bertram. We speak with leaders across the country in the greater conservative and libertarian movements. In-depth conversations about where the next intellectual battles will happen across the country. It's the Future of Freedom podcast. Find it at americastalking.com or wherever you get your podcasts.